Hello there. I'm Dr. Travis Parry. Welcome to the Travis Parry Show. Have you ever struggled with relationship issues, whether in your marriage or family, that are actually keeping you from growing and scaling your business? Most individuals think that, oh, it's just a communication issue. It's a trust issue. It might be, but it might actually be related to money. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about a couple who's in business together, but they have really struggled to make gains lately, very much plateaued in their business because of issues they had really no clue were related to previous relationship financial issues. I'm going to dive deep into it today for this podcast. Hope you can relate, like and share and subscribe and do all the things. And more importantly, if you personally need help, please, below, I've got a conversation that we can break down how this might work for you and how it might help you with financial hypnotherapy in your own business, relationship, your health, everything. All right, so let's get to it. So today we're going to be calling this couple real, client. We're going to be referring to them as Scott and Megan. All right. So Scott, let me first tell you a little bit about him. Before I met Scott, Scott had been involved in lots of businesses before and had been somewhat successful, but had really hit a major plateau. He and his wife, she has her own job, teaching career, but Scott really was trying to do something more important in his life than his current position and his current role. And so he began 10 years ago into a business. Like most of us, like we launch from something else and we want to go after something. He wanted to help people with health. And so he began this journey. Well, along this journey, he had taken literally every coaching opportunity that came up. He had listened to every mentor inside the business, and he had done literally everything he could to gain the knowledge so that he could feel confident and grow this business. However, he absolutely plateaued when we met, and I got referred to him to discuss his situation. Now, financial hypnotherapy, we began in level one, where we looked at his overall situation consciously and what he thought about what he could do to help people. And he was very confident about what his product and service was to help other people because he had seen it. He had absolutely bought in and he was very convinced and believed wholeheartedly that this was something that so many people needed. Like it wasn't an issue of what he was doing. It wasn't an issue of competency. It wasn't an issue of this might not work. It was absolutely already working. So as we dove deeper into level two, we started to uncover some emotional anxiety, even depression, and some apathy. Now, we don't talk a whole lot about apathy, but apathy is this absence of drive, right? It's an absence of being motivated. It's an absence of doing something that you know you probably should be doing, but because you feel sort of a void of non-action, right? And so as we stumbled upon this, we got looking deeper into this level two, what I call level two. And level two, in mapping the mind out in hypnotherapy, it's really about emotions, where the emotions stem from, how do they get there, why are they there, how do they get programmed into your subconscious mind. As we started to really uncover this, it started to go back to a previous relationship, a previous marriage. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Because as we explored that, he had been through some therapy and counseling about his previous marriage and, thought that everything's pretty much taken care of and everything's fine there. He's moved along and he has a great marriage to his current wife, Megan, and they love each other. Megan absolutely is the love of his life, and they've learned so much from their both previous relationships. Well, that said, that's kind of the level two. And we thought not much of it. And so I started digging into level three, which is the limiting beliefs. Now, this is where so much of the work is to be done, is this level three limiting thoughts and beliefs around money, around the psychology, from where his values were. And as we started to pick this apart, when I did some deeper work in this area and found out that the fear, this limiting fear that he has, was ginormous, and this fear actually kept him from taking any action, not just some action, any action. So his business had completely plateaued. Now, all of us know that if your business plateaus, you're not just keeping treading water, you're actually going backwards. It's like going up a down escalator. Once you stop, you're just going to go down, right? As a little kid, when I discovered an escalator, my sister and I were like, we would race up to the top. She'd go up the one, and I'd go the down one, and we'd cause all sorts of havoc in the airport. And my parents were really embarrassed, but to this day, I remember how fun it was to run up a down escalator. Well, as soon as you stop, you begin to go backwards. And that's exactly what was going on. And it was not just affecting his business, it was affecting his mental health, because it's like, man, I'm not really contributing as much as I used to in the past. And it was really quite depressing and putting him to a little bit of depression. Well, initially we thought, well, it's just this fear of taking action. So in level 4, when we did the hypnotherapy session, we dug deep into fear. Now, to give some quick background on various emotions, I haven't spent a lot of time talking about the various negative emotions, but fear is not the worst negative emotion. Adversary, the devil, Satan, whatever you want to call him, he uses all sorts of emotions to demotivate us, to keep us. And fear is one, but apathy is worse than fear. Guilt is worse than apathy, and shame is the worst. So as we went through, we cleared these fears, and it was an absolute incredible session. I could literally see, and I'm not seeing like manifestations of spiritual matter or anything, because a lot of times people think, oh, this hypnotherapy, this is woo woo, this is spiritual or religious. No, it's absolutely psychological. But I could see the weight that was lifting off him as the fear was removed. All right, it was spectacular. Not everybody has the same reaction when it comes to financial hypnotherapy, but most people tell me that they feel lighter, they feel more empowered, they feel in more control. Well, I thought that this was it. In fact, I expected on our follow up, which I always do. I always do a post follow up to the session. I felt like, man, he's going to come back telling me how great it was and how he's back in the horse and he's able to start building his business because that plateau was gone. Not so much. For whatever reason, he let me know that, hey, I've experienced some like initial, like the day of and the next day, just incredible boost of energy. And I was really excited to take some action. And then he still got caught. Now, what that usually tells me with the hundreds of sessions I've done with financial hypnotherapy is that there's something deeper. There's a deeper emotion. Now, a lot of us, we tend to believe, like, this is our problem. Like, the problem is this. The problem is lack of clients. The problem is this. And then we get deeper into level 3 and we're like, oh, our limiting belief is actually that I'm afraid of failing. Okay, let's just say failure and success, the two biggest fears. And well, I'm afraid of failing, so I'm not going to try. So I won't even call the potential new client because they may turn me down, right? So it's that fear of failure that will actually keep you from taking action. This was a huge thing for Scott. And I thought for sure, once we got past it, it'd be gone. But there's oftentimes deeper emotions. Shame is the biggest one. So as we got talking in our follow-up session, I found out that he'd actually, while everything was just great with his new wife, Megan, that the previous marriage, there had been some major issues with money around shame. Oh, he'd not ever disclosed this to me. So that was, I couldn't really work there with him on it just yet. And so I did one more session. Now, most of the time with financial hypnotherapy, because we go through level 1, level 2, level 3, and we dive super deep on these things, that we can muddy the water, so to speak, and the real issue comes up. So sometimes, oh, it's fear of failure. Yeah, but it might be actually that you don't feel loved, right? So you're afraid to fail, and that's all related. Well, in this case, after we cleared this fear of failure, we went to work on the shame. And I thought the fear of failure episode, this session was just, incredibly effective with him. And, I thought everything's just going to work out amazing until we hit the shame block. And again, I thought that session was incredible. But when we got into the shame, we started working there. That's when I could see how much this previous marriage had, she had shamed Scott into where he was. Now he'd forgiven her. He's a very Christ-like person. There is no animosity, but the shame had done damage to him. All right. So as we used this financial hypnotherapy session for this second session here, we addressed the shame. He addressed the shame. I allowed him to get into that state. He allowed his own mind to be there and ready. We got into the trance very quickly because after the first session, getting trance the second time is actually much, much easier for the brain to say, hey, I'm going to allow myself to be relaxed and get there even quicker, even faster. It's a beautiful thing. Well, once you got into that position, as we started to talk about the ex-wife, in which once someone goes into trance, they don't lose their values or ethics or morals. Like their inhibitions are gone, so they're able to open up more freely. Okay, and because of that, he was able to open up about this relationship, and I could sense that there was a lot of shame and guilt from how she treated him. It was the treatment that she gave him, that he was never good enough, that he never lived up to it, that he never lived up to his potential. And even when there were things that did go really well, she still kind of kept him in that box, or emotionally abused him. And once he was able to get past that in the hypnotherapy session, it was an absolutely totally different Scott. Wow. Scott really was just a totally different guy. And we ended up actually doing another financial hypnotherapy session with his wife. And his wife had been dealing with issues from her previous marriage years ago, that she had been to therapy for 20 plus years. 20 plus years. And very similar type of situation. Like these two found each other, both very humble, very caring, very kind, very accepting individuals. But Megan's issues were actually also attached to her previous spouse, and that spouse helped her to feel like money was something to be guilty about, something that one should not be really worthy of. And there was a lot of self-worth issues that were compounded. So you take the money self-worth and the individual self-worth and always putting yourself last and always doing it for everybody else, but never really feeling that love, that joy that comes from quality relationships. So here's these two individuals that love each other and want success in this business that Scott has been doing it, and that Megan had been giving support to, but very questionably, like, I don't know if this will actually work, right? It was coming from her own self-worth issues, her own issues around money that actually didn't have to do anything with money, that had everything to do with her being able to love who she was. And Scott, having been so shamed by his previous relationship that he can't imagine himself subconsciously that others would appreciate the value that he could bring into his business. You have these two, and you have, again, a loving, kind, patient, humble relationship. I've honestly, I don't think rarely have I encountered such humility among two individuals and who really, really, really do love each other. But this baggage they brought from this previous relationship was actually killing their business they were trying to grow together. And that was inadvertently creating stress, anxiety, even a little bit of depression there for the two of them. They were so worried about this endeavor that they had invested so much time, so much effort, and had just plateaued. Okay. What was awesome about this is after we got, Scott got rid of his shame, Megan was able to deal with this kind of self-loathing and get past that completely. Not only did it, really spark and energize their marriage even more, but it launched Scott. I can't take credit for what he's doing now because it's not my industry. I'm not doing anything specifically to mentor him on what actions to take. But now he's taking the actions. He's doing the things that his mentors are teaching him specifically about that industry and health and wellness, and he's able to have success. And I'm just following his journey, just loving what he's doing. But it's every day. He's taking action on this now. He's doing this now. He's doing this. Something as simple as I'm going to make a phone call to talk to somebody about this opportunity. He hadn't been able to do for almost 10 years. Okay. So it's interesting. How do you apply this to whatever industry you're in? If there's plateaus going on in your business, a lot of time it's easy to blame. Well, it's the economy, right? It's the political situation. It's inflation. And well, it might also be like maybe our marketing is just dried up and we need to fix that, or we need to boost our product, a new product, and we need to improve our service value and all these other things. Again, success, Tony Robbins talks about this all the time. I 100% agree. I've seen this with hundreds of clients. I'm sure he's helped thousands of people, but success is 90% right here between the ears is the psychology, 10% systems. So while that might be true, maybe there's some forces like inflation and marketing and other things that are happening, that are the systems side, the 10%. Okay, maybe there are some things. But if you've got guilt and shame, if you've got, baggage from other relationships that you're bringing in to that marriage, it absolutely 100% is probably affecting your business as well because you're not dealing with it. You haven't dealt with it. Now, listen, I get it. Therapists, you do great things. And those maybe that are listening, family therapists, psychologists, licensed professional counselors, social workers, I understand the place, but usually helping people on a level 2. This is why Megan, for 20 plus years, had been seeing generational, psychologists talking about this, emotional generational issues that had really been quite abusive, okay, in her family. But once we were able to break through that and help her deal with it, she realized that, oh man, a lot of that actually happened in her own childhood. It happened right there. And she attracted a man that kind of continued on with the abuse and this emotional abuse until she found Scott. But that still didn't heal the scars. It didn't heal the wounds that are directly related to them being able to be on the same page financially in their business so that she could support him and give him full attention, full love, full support in him growing. And he could have the confidence on the other side by not dealing with all that shame that came from his ex-wife, who he's made peace with, forgave, loved, but still the scars were there. They're deep. I'm finding, again, with the hundreds of financial therapy sessions I've been doing this year, how incredibly effective financial therapy has been. Just 1-2 sessions where 20 plus years of work has not been able to fix at a level 2, at this therapy level. Why? Again, if you go back to previous episodes, 10x or Master Your Mind, 10x Your Business was several episodes ago when I talked about level 2. Great. Again, therapists do wonderful work, but they're peeling back an onion, layers and layers and layers of an onion until they finally get to the real issue there at the core. Where hypnotherapy, we can bring you into a trance-like state, which is that state that right before you fall asleep, but after your head hits the pillow, like right in between there. Okay. Or you've been driving and you've been thinking about other things, and therefore you've just been driving on autopilot. Like that's driving in hypnosis. Like it's that state where you're awake, but your mind is in a different place. Okay. Sometimes as a kid, we call that daydreaming. Like we just did it automatically. But as adults, we use our logical mind, or we're trying to so much that sometimes we forget. But it happens really, really, really easily if we allow it to. Okay. So, because we can get into that state and deal with the things that you've been struggling with, maybe even for decades, we can absolutely, completely get rid of it and not have any problem. Now, Megan walks with her head held high because of the worth that she knew she had. That she's just shining, exuding that confidence because of the love and the value of that. She knows that she is loved, and she's a daughter of God, and she is loved by her family. And Scott has all the action in the world now. There's nothing holding him back, no fear, no shame, no guilt that's keeping him from picking up the phone, inviting people to the opportunity he has with his business. Now, I'm excited to share these types of cases with you, and I protect names. I give as much details as I can from my perspective. This might not be exactly what they perceive, but this is what I perceive from my notes, from my experience with them. Really, really enjoy this. I enjoy working with startups to billionaires. I've done everything in between and at the ends of these spectrums. And it's really, really fascinating to see how, when we can unlock the mind and we can get past your fears, get past your failures, you can 10x your business, you can 10x your life, by being able to take the action, by being able to not just thinking about the idea, but taking the action towards the idea. And really, that was the name of the game for Scott. This apathy, this inaction, these very, very low level negative emotions were keeping him so stuck and so afraid that he was not able to do anything. Now he's off the charts, active, involved with what he's doing in the business. And I can't wait to continue to see how his business is growing and evolving, and how he and his wife now have been able to get past these issues from both previous marriages, and how it's blossoming in their own relationship, how close they are around money. And I'll end with this. Some of the work we did after was helping them truly get on the same page financially, and being able to actually talk about money so that it didn't bring up old issues from both previous relationships. Okay. Because I could tell them, hey, talk about it. This is how you work on your expenses and prioritize things, and how you save and do all the things I talk about in Marry and Grow Rich. But if their psychologies are so different and they're so not ready, and you add all the baggage from previous relationships, it can seem overwhelming. Now, you don't have to have baggage from a previous marriage or from a previous relationship to understand that sometimes taking action for you in your business might be linked to, or the inaction might be linked to some financial fears, or shame or guilt from something that you've dealt with. Now, I am happy to spend time with you, and I'm happy to see if we are a good fit. My team and I are standing by. So if that's you, if you're a business owner, you want to grow your business, you want to improve your marriage, you want to improve your health, your mental health, your physical health, your relational health with your children and others, I'm telling you, after all the research I've done, after all the training that I've been through for years and years and years, this certificate right here of being a financial hypnotherapist has really, really, really just knocked the doors off of opportunities, so that I can help people get past these fears, these subconscious blocks, once and for all. So if that's you, if you want to look at what this would look like, how we can help you, how my team and I can get you on the right path and the right direction, how we can work together, then click on the button below, schedule the time, meet with a member of my team, my assistant Ryan, who can walk you through what's really going on. And absolutely, let's see if we can work together. If that's not you, that's totally fine. Maybe there's somebody out there who would need this information and would like to work with us. And like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Until next time, where we talk to you again about financial hypnotherapy and how this can help you to grow your business and to improve your marriage and your health. Hope you have an amazing, blessed day, and we will talk very soon. See you on the next one, guys. Bye-bye.